Give hallelujah, the highest praise. Hallelujah, give him the highest praise. Hallelujah, give me the highest praise. In the morning when I wake up, in the night when I wake up, I will lift up my voice to heaven and give you the highest praise. Hallelujah to my King. Hallelujah to my Father. Hallelujah to my Jesus. I bow before the throne. When I look at all the wonder and I see all the creation, the beauty of the universe, you never, never change. You never, never lie. You never, never change. You never, never change. Hallelujah to my Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Hey, hey. Hallelujah. Give. Hallelujah. The highest praise. Hallelujah. Give him the highest praise. Hallelujah. Give him the highest praise. I'm not afraid, Jehovah. I'm not walking, Jehovah. It is of the prison. I'm not prison. It is of everything. The worshiping. Oh, you give me life. I will praise this name. I'm here to praise my God because He gave me life. Come celebrate, come to praise, come to worship Him. He deserves the praise. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise. Hallelujah, give. Hallelujah, the highest praise. Hallelujah, giving the highest praise. Hallelujah, giving the highest praise. Ooh, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah to my Jesus. Hallelujah.
Les dignes filles et fils de la commune de Djiblo, soyez unis et indivisibles pour mieux agir dans le sacré bois. Paix développement dio, DBS pas mais Djiblo d'abord dio, Baye Ben Sévérin pas si beau pour la Baye Ben Sévérin, tu as attendu ta prière et il t'a exaucé. Bienvenue, monsieur le maire. Sami Dola, mon arrangeur au cœur blanc. Maman Mariette, présidente du fan club BBS. Babo Siei Oswald, Kossi. Ah, pas oh. Baye Ben Sévérin, oh, pas deme oh. Koti Wayo, baby, pas oh. Unoué, nous bouillez, si on passe comme oh. Wéo, l'oré à oh. Capitaine qui bio valait à oh. Comité qui vous oh. Président Robinson à oh. Président Basio à oh. Président de Michel à oh. Maman Bae Dorothée à oh. Badie Madame le nom c'est moi non pas. Mado wa bodu kidi a moi non pas. Ah oh pas mais oh. Avant son arrivée, il a été annoncé. Celui qui doit sauver Djiblo est de retour. Le peuple enjaillé, tout développement. Il dit entre ta vérité et ma vérité, oh, y a celle du peuple, oh. C'est la dit gros d'abord. La pierre rejetée est devenue la principale, oh. Ça n'est pas main des mains, oh. Tiglo pour y plaire, tout le monde nous est assilé. Que toi ici à prendre de vie en tranquillité. Ah non, le maître de Vietnam, Tiglo d'abord. Nous semons une réconciliation, dites-moi. Pour tout le monde, après quoi se réunir, nous. Après quoi nous un péché. Pourquoi moi les uns qui croient que les autres couillent. Ah non, le maître de Vietnam, cohésion sociale. Emeni tout en sous, tout en dessous, comment tout en sous. Y'a esse kwe mwen kibo. Di akpaye lutte nous dit quoi c'est à débat. De développer ma nationale et de Dieu. Bébé y'a pas main. Aonyi potu ogui bon imo. De mérignon si un citoyen publié. On se veut rien serrer nous. Au point on peut pas on dit à rien. Au pas plaider à boire moi boire plagier. Y'a pas plus de toi à pas plaider. Mon toi il quoi plaider yoko. Ah on pas mais oh. Non nous a payé choisir c'est choix sans on nous boaga. C'est quoi des encombrés. Ah on pas mais demain oh. A j'ai dit super zéro. Maman c'est de Thérèse zéro. Maman pour Clémentine à zéro. Maman Benjo Charlotte à zéro. Maman Oulé Agnès à zéro. Maman Guillemette à zéro. Joël Dimitri Oka Cynthia. Merci Maman Fan Club BBS. Amical des âgés.
Okay, good evening, folks. Let's see here. Let's get this going. Let me get this here and check them out. All right, welcome to this evening broadcast. Today is Thursday, and all things considered, we want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Today's program highlights major news making headlines in Liberia to other parts of the world, and news are so much concerning to you, just perfectly positioned to allow you to speak on issues that are matter to you, concerning to you. A lot is unfolding in Liberia in the world of politics, social, economic, and other news making headlines in Liberia. So I'm Alfonso Z, and so as usual, I want to welcome you to today's broadcast, this evening podcast, right here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. To just invite someone to your company, and we're going to have a conversation that you will be able to speak on things that are matter to you, concerning to you, about your country and about our own country, Liberia. Let's take a quick commercial break, and I'll be right back.
Go Zone Liberia, promoting talents through academy.
Go Zone Liberia, Go Zone Liberia.
I wanna thank the Lord for this organization of motivation all through this nation. Go Zone Liberia, you're not doing it again, no. Go Zone Liberia, yeah. So get prepared for us. We coming there to your school. If we can sing, dance, and rap, now you we coming you. We here to promote the talent that been heading for years. We here to promote the talent.
Why are we worried? Is that not our community?
Yes, that is our community, but we can cross here.
Why?
We need to go to that junction or walk to cross safely.
How?
Because the traffic will stop or coleslaw.
Okay, let's go.
Administration, let us help the parents bring the talent out of the children. At school Zoom, there is a way to bring it out. Yeah. You don't need to bring discrimination. Don't need to be a rapper, with the singers and dancers. And not everybody was born to.
Grandpa, what are you waiting for? Let's go.
No, not yet.
What again?
We need to wait for a polling instruction. No, we are just full. We need to wait for all us to cross.
Okay.
We've been waiting, praying for this opportunity. Yeah. School zone, Liberia. Too many talents in your children, talents in the land. It's too glad to see. Yeah, but we don't give up. To guide the children through what they want to do. They need your prayers and your guidance. They need protection and your direction. Yeah. Mama, Papa, never declare them. They need you now. They need you later with us.
If there are no police officers, were we not going to crash?
Yes, we were going to cross, but we were going to ask an older person to help us cross.
School Zone Liberia, promoting talents through academy.
That's school zone to Liberia, right there by our own man, a breakthrough in Liberia. But I know it's extremely late in the West African state of Liberia, but our own man, Emmanuel, is embedded with the president of the Republic of Liberia on the tour. It's currently based in Grand Bassa County. So right now, let me see if we can manage to get Emmanuel on the line from Grand Bassa County this late or morning hour. Emmanuel, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I know it's extremely late, but these are things that we sign up for doing here. Okay, so tell us here, where are you right down in Liberia?
I'm right now in the Light Compound 3, the Liberia Agricultural Company in Grand Bassa County, where His Excellency Dr. George Weah is expected to meet and greet with his people in this part of Grand Bassa County. To be precise, the Light Compound in Grand Bassa County, where I'm currently relaxing, awaiting the president's arrival tomorrow. But the momentum here is gonna be hot. The people of Life already printed the flyer, the T-shirt of CDC singing slogan, battle cry ahead of the president's visit here tomorrow.
So the president is expected early morning hours, in Grand Bassa County, or you say what specifically will he be going? What will he be arriving tomorrow morning?
Per the executive mansion protocol, the president should be in Light Compound 3 by 11 a.m. That is 23-hour GMT. Mm-hmm. It is 23-hour GMT. I don't know the time in the diaspora, but it should be 11 o'clock a.m. in Compound 3, where he will have his first groundbreaking ceremony of a modern market in this part of Grand Bassa County, Light Compound, and then he will be dedicating a clinic in this part of Light Compound 3. He will also be dedicating a clinic interacting with the citizen.
Okay, talking about the dedications of a clinic, is that a newly built clinic or to renovated, to remodeled, or whatever your term is to be? Is it a newly constructed clinic by the CDC-led government or what?
It's a newly constructed clinic by the individual is Don Shiki Mon, who is the director. I think he's the one that supervising the activity at the Buchanan Port. He was the one that constructed the clinic and will be dedicated by the president on tomorrow. So once you are with the Buchanan Port, you are or manager or secretary at the Buchanan Port, you pay a project that is work commendation and work dedication by the president. I think it will be shower praises on the government of Liberia.
What is the general atmosphere in terms of the ordinary citizens and people within that bill with respect to the president's visit? What are you hearing? Is it coming in the attentions of the dwellers, community dwellers as well?
Yeah, ahead of the president visit here, the reception here is good. The enthusiasm here is good. People have already, as I'm speaking to you right now, I was just on the street, but the ring had to bring me in. The ring is the one that they squarely putting the people in door, but they are on the street waiting the president arrival. As of tonight, they are on the street of like Compound 3. They are on the street with the flyers, sinking the sun, but the rain too bad. The weather condition is not too good tonight, so I think they will be forced to go into and wait the president arrive for on tomorrow. But as I'm speaking to you now, the president just light up the port city of Buchanan, but I couldn't catch that activity because I was on my way to have a safe environment or safe room to rest myself for early tomorrow morning. But he just light up the port city of Buchanan as part of his commitment to letting up the entire country or major city across Liberia.
So from what I'm hearing from you now, the city of Buchanan or the Buchanan port is being light up by the president. Is that in line with his visit, or is there a long-term enlightenment systems we're going to be seeing unfolding there, or is it part of a political gaming?
Per our own analysis, some critics from the I will not say critics, but opposite from the opposition, like some turning the president letting of major city or the nationwide tour is being pre-campaign meditated from the opposition, and because I sometimes interview the opposition black while I'm on the county tour, I sometimes interview negative rumors about the president tour. They had a lot of criticism, but yeah, in Buchanan the reception is kind of different. Despite the recent senatorial election where we had a mixed conflict at the time, Western got Finley and that of the opposition in collaborating party, Kennedy, who is the current senator, and Yomble Kanga Lauren. There was a good battle during the May senatorial election, but I think the people of Basel have stand up. They are stand up for the president of the Republic of Liberia. The reception yet is good. Actually, in Basel, it turned out in numbers.
Okay, so talking about that here, I'm not sure whether this part of the politics is not involved. Do we have, for example, member of the opposition caucus or lawmakers? Are they in Grand Basel to also be part of the president's welcoming ceremony? I'm not sure that is the case, but you are there. Are you hearing any of these lawmakers from Grand Basel? Are they in there to receive the president?
Almost all of the Grand Basel County members of the Grand Basel County Legislative Caucus were in attendance to receive the president. Both the opposition lawmaker, I see Vincent Willie from the opposition bloc. I saw and Thomas Goswat, the lawmaker there. I saw. I think few of them were in attendance, but excluding was the major the face of Liberian women in politics, the talk and do of Liberian women in politics, Yomble Kanga Lawrence was the major talking point and absentees.
Oh, as yet, any release as far as you are concerned, the absence of Yomble Kanga Lawrence. I mean, it is obvious. This is it's a big political gaming time. But is there any release from her office, or what are you hearing from her supporters of not showing up? Is there any reason provided so far? You know. Just bear with us. All right. As you know, it's extremely late in Liberia, especially reporting from Grand Bassett, our national correspondent, Emmanuel. Emmanuel, are you there? Okay, let's see. Hopefully he will join us back. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners. I've been joined by our senior analyst and contributor here of the Liberia Public Radio, Amos George. Okay, he gone off here. Let me go to Pa George. Is sitting back in Atlanta, Georgia, right here in the USA. Mr. George, good evening and welcome to today's editions of All Things Considered. How are you this evening?
I'm great. How you doing?
Okay, good. The president is taking a tour. I hope our guy gonna come back here. How significant is this sort of presidential tour? Even though we saw the huge political inflations right after the senatorial race, the race is ongoing, and the president is moving like an octopus now, going all out there. Is it a good strategy? Is he trying to solidify his position way ahead of 2023, but try to do it quietly in the name of developments and relating to his people?
Oh, of course, that's what he's doing. Is it the president's second visit, or is it the county-wide tour?
This is a continuation of the county-wide tour. This is the third phase of his county tour.
Oh, okay.
And you'll hear him saying the port of Buchanan was light up today. But what I'm looking at, the legitimacy of this all is this in line with the president visit. Politicians like to be boosted up, like to gain the attentions of the media, especially when they are so specific. But we must admit that it's huge. We don't know how long you're going to stay, but that's a huge significance. And these are little marks being put here and there. How significant is this president visit cross country?
Is it the port of Buchanan or the entire city of Buchanan?
Well, that's what I'm trying to verify, but our understanding Buchanan. But I'm hoping to see if Emmanuel gonna call back. But let's put it in the column with the limited information that we have. What would be the big difference if the port of Buchanan is light out and Buchanan City is not light out? But I'm not sure whether that's going to be the scenario. But for discussion purposes, if it is within the columns of the Buchanan port, is it a bad or good? Do we still give credit?
It is good, but Mr. Todd, this is a responsibility of the government. So it's like when the project started.
So it does not work accommodations. Is that
no?
Where you are
What I'm saying is it worth it, but it is not something for anybody for me to be jumping over here, because that's a responsibility of the government. This project started before it continued.
Okay, so, just hold on 1 second. Let me see whether we can get Emmanuel back here. Okay, Emmanuel, we're so sorry. We know it's later. Emmanuel, are you there?
It's good to be back.
Yeah, okay. No, it's understanding it's very late. Okay, quickly here. This is the talking point, the conversation I was just having with the lightnings of is it the entire Buchanan or the port of Buchanan? What specifically this curry is being provided as far as you are concerned?
The main top main street of Buchanan, beginning from the just around the St. Moses, there's a funeral home, the sub branch of the St. Moses funeral home there, all the way going down up Buchanan, the major cities of Buchanan, including the port. So all part of Buchanan is being led up by His Excellency.
Okay, so as what you are telling us now, the cities of Buchanan is light up tonight.
It's beautified.
It's beautified.
It's light up tonight.
So was that part of play in line with the president's visit? Has it been to the pipeline according to as far as you are concerned, or is it just in line? You know what, the president is coming here. we need to do something. We need to electrify this place here. Is that the case or what? Okay, so
Mr. So I wanted to find out.
Yeah, are you there?
The letter, as I was saying, yeah, I'm there. The letter project, as I was saying, is part of the real letter project. It's part of the nationwide project. We are said it when you let off Morovia late. Was it late? Late June? Was it June? No.
You mean his first tour?
Yes, no, prior to his county tour, was March, I think. Yes, it was in March when he light up the city of Morovia, just around the EFWA junction, when he turned on the first switch.
Yeah.
So as part of the light up project, I was on that occasion when he turned on the switch at the EFWA junction, saying I'm going to beautify all major cities before the county engagement with his people. So it's part of a real project. So it's part of his own government initiative. Yeah.
Okay. So let me talk to you here. We know while the president is, I believe this is his third tour, county tour. In the midst of that, this sort of distraction from the NIMAT bill came out. As the president, as he spoke quietly behind the scene, how the folks that are close to the president, how is he addressing as he speaking up publicly as far as you are concerned, being on the tour with the president, what's going on in Nimba County?
About particularly the president, have he spoke about the incident in Ganta City, the violence that took place a day or so in Bambos. He always reminded the citizen of Liberia, everywhere he went, keep the peace, maintain the peace, stop discussions, stop violence. Yeah, and it's just his message across Liberia, but particularly speaking on the Ganta protest. I think heard it from the president.
Has the president been confronted with this development by the media, including you and other folks that are accompanying the president? As the question comes about during the president's interaction, whether it was a distraction or how he feels about what was going on in Nimba County. Has that question, anybody brought that question up?
I think he quite responded it when we're in Magibi. I think he responded in the livestock in Magibi. I think the unification time when the president said the opposition political bloc are always packing of violence to distract his leadership, for the urging the citizens to remain kind and to keep the focus, maintain peace. So I think he said it at the unification time hall in Magibi County.
Wow. Okay. Well, I know it's extremely late and it's almost you got another task tomorrow.
One good thing that is doing shower praises on the presidency is the First Lady Clara Marie. We are doing it again in the port city of Buchanan with the unique construction constructed home for the OH people. Approximately 86-bedroom home in port city of Buchanan was built by His Excellency Clara Marie. We are dedicated by the president.
Are you saying the facility has already been dedicated through the initiative of the First Lady?
Yeah, it's been dedicated, was built by the First Lady as part of the Clara Marie Foundation, and being dedicated is so much commendable, and the people are so excited about this project on the First Lady project.
So this is the president. This seems to be like a secret weapon. The First Lady now is accompanying the president on this sort of tour? Is it adding some sort of momentum or seeing the other side of the president? Is that how it's been perceived? Folks that are closer to the president, is that a strategy?
I think from my own observation, is some way or the other giving momentum to the presidency. With Clara Marie, we are partnering with her spouse, moving around the dedication of several projects, including the Forestry Development Authority or sub-quarter of the Forestry Development Authority was again dedicated by the president in Buchanan City. Today, dedicated the Development Authority sub-office in Basel.
Yeah, because
so
I got an email. It was an email blast on the protocol officer to the president, Mr. Douglas, and we also responded if we could even talk to the first lady or folks that are close to the first lady initiative, so we can get a sense of how the first lady office is being funded. I'm not sure whether the public relation aspect is being aggressive to get this sort of information out. Do you think are they getting those information out as it should be, or what's really going on?
I think my colleague Arthur Douglas, who is the communication specialist of the first lady office, has been some way or the other. I will not say delinquent or some way or the other in declining, but because majority of this information need to be flagged out. But particularly the first lady stressed that her foundation has been on series of activity by the SHISU movement. The LIBERIA Foundation have been doing extremely well, but these things need to be given out to the public. But the communication is a bit weak from the first lady office.
We hope probably if we can get access to Mr. George. I'm talking now our own Emma George now, the public relations officer to the first lady, because there have been this sort of
If Arthur is Arthur Douglas, Arthur Douglas is the
Arthur Douglas. Yeah, Mr. Douglas. I mean, we want to know what is the funding from national government to subsidize this first lady initiative. That has been the talking point, but I'm not sure whether it's been adequately addressed. And it is important for them to come forward too, so that people will know, or the media will know, because we've been hearing X millions of dollars has been allotted to the first lady. What is true budgetary allocation, we do not know. But everybody seems to be tight-lipped on this sort of information. And so from that blast, I did an email. I've still been checking. I'm not seeing anything from Mr. Douglas as to acknowledging our email, whether our invitation will be accepted, whatever the situation, or what are somebody will be put forward to speak on this issue.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Amen. Thank you so much for a wonderful job. After Buchanan, where next the president will be going? We learned that there's a planned trip for Sierra Leone, neighboring Sierra Leone, to be honoring their independence, or I think independence anniversary. After Buchanan, is he going to Sano, or would that trip be?
The protocol has earlier announced before the president departure from Monrovia to honor his third county tour was earlier scheduled for 4 counties, that is Margibi, Grand Bassa, Riverside, and Sano. But protocol had to change because the president had to honor an invitation by neighboring Sierra Leone to honor the invitation of the independent. So the president will retire in Bassa late Saturday evening to conclude the third county tour, and to schedule 6 days after he will be prepared for Riverside and that of Sino for at least a 6-day visit to Riverside and that of Sino, and then retire, which will be part of his fourth county tour, and prepare later additional days to prepare for Lo-Fi County, which will be on January in Lo-Fi County, because the president of the Republic of Liberia has set aside Lo-Fi as a zone where he will spend at least 10 days in that part of Liberia to interact with his citizens.
Well, that's a battleground. But hold on one second. Let me see what I can go to Mr. George if he has a question. Mr. George, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Do you have a question for email?
Yeah, actually, the lighting in Buchanan City, is it electricity or solar panels?
Okay.
The lighting, I'm hearing Mr. George. The lighting is a solar panel light owned by LIBERIA's own company, according to the president of LIBERIA's own company. I think somewhere or one George also, but I'm forgetting the last name. Is the solar, everywhere the president went is a solar lighting system. A solar lighting system. I would describe it as I saw something like a alley light post with a solar panel. But I think from my own observation, is a guarantee little over maybe a year or two so little over my own observation, but because I'm not a technician, but a little or 2 years old. So something when the opposition talk about being pre-campaign for 2023, I would say yes somewhere or other because the lighting is not too guaranteed per my own observation.
Is the hospital? Is there any light in the hospital?
The president program for 150 bedroom hospital in Bison, the program for the hospital, and as of yesterday, in program for the hospital. It was day before yesterday in program for the hospital because we are already into a new day here in Liberia. And I think the first cement brick was laid for the construction of a 150 bedroom hospital in Buchanan City. And according to the Liberian leader, he said it was to improve the health system or health sector of Liberia in that part of, and that hospital will be run by the government of Liberia.
No, I mean the old hospital, the hospital there personally, do that hospital has electricity?
The old hospital in Basel it has electricity. It has electricity.
So, Emmanuel, I quickly here. Did the president say how much it's going to cost? Do they have all of the fundings to execute these projects, these groundbreaking ceremonies, to which, of course, are good for the country? Does the government or does the president say do they have the funding for all of this work now, or they're going to go out there to find fundings?
The president saying his own lobbyistic power, his government own lobbyistic power, they're going to work out modality he's committed to improving the livelihood of Liberians, he's committed to transforming Liberia, he's committed to developing Liberia for everywhere he went. He told the people of Liberia for reposing the confidence in him, he's going to change the livelihood, he committed, but the president didn't where the funding is coming from to complete all of the projects.
Okay. All right, my man. Let you rest. I know you got a hectic day tomorrow. Thank you, Ta. We will be in touch with you. I keep safe and I keep up posted of any developing news while on the joining embedded with the president taking a tour. Thank you so much and I keep safe.
Thank you.
All right. So, Mr. Joyce.
Yeah.
Let's come back here. Are we missing something here? Or are we saying the deal is done already? It's just a matter of formality, or the opposition are they not paying key attention to see what is happening? Who is taking a risk here?
Here is the thing, Mr. So, the lighting of these cities, the money was allocated by central government, and so people should get that. It's not personal. We have personal money that he's using to put this solar panel up. The money was allocated in the budget, so it's not. But I know the impression they're creating that the president is doing these things as personally, because they always say the We Are project,
I think the messaging aspect and part of that, I don't blame people who says that, because he is the head of the government. Anything initiated by the government, it should be interpreted as government initiative.
Okay.
But the matter of the fact that people or supporters try to coin this to say president, so it makes it very difficult to distinguish what is the government initiative. If it's a class we are the first lady project, that's a different thing. But the idea or the concept of supporters of the president to always coin these as the president's initiative, I think it's wrong. It's wrong messaging, and that's part of their failure to actually articulate if there's a message or when there's something concrete coming from the national government, it should be projected as government initiative.
But that's what's more I'm saying. These projects, the president is going around dedicating, putting the street level. It's not president, we have personal project. And the news should be.
So discredit the government initiative here. Is that where we are going? Or does it really matter people who are giving this sort of interpretation in their own self-desired motive, maybe to appease the president? Does it really matter? Or
it matters because it matters because what matters is this funding is not coming from the president's personal pocket. This is the national government that funding this program. And if this program has to be funded, you see what they do? They wait. When the person goes in, they say the person comes to electrify the town. He come here, electrify the place. It's like he doing a person. Instead of they saying, hey, the government is electrifying, the government is doing this project. No, it's all person. We are electrifying the place. Everything is centered around President We are. And this money is not coming from President.
If something goes wrong under the watch of this president, who do you think we're going to hold responsible as well?
Oh, yeah, because Mr. So will hold him responsible because he is the one that we have given us. That's the contract we signed with him to manage these resources of the country. But if in the meantime, if he's managing the resources of the country, things done should not be like personal project. This is what I am against, because people look at it to say, when the president go to play, he will do this. When the president go this side, he will do this. I get that, but it's a national government that doing this thing.
So let's put the nail on the head here. Your argument here is the interpretations of the supporters of the president that have, out of ignorance, coined the initiatives of national government to say the president. Is that the language you're finding it very difficult to understand?
Very difficult to understand. Yes. Now, let me ask you. The president went to Nima. They said that he's going to build a hospital. Is the government going to build a hospital? Is the president going to build a hospital?
Who is the government?
The government comprises everybody.
Who is the head of the government?
The president is the head of the government. But you have to be very precise when you're passing this message of war. Because there are NGOs that are doing other projects in Liberia, and the government is claiming responsibility. I mean, they are taking those projects to be all government projects. Now,
wait a minute here. Let's settle the doors here.
Yeah.
The NGO are doing this work, and the government is claiming credit. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah. Some of the projects they are doing, the president, the government has seen that those projects have been done by them. Money.
Who do you think Papa House might have lobbied? Because a part of these companies that are operating within our borders, within our community, they have their own responsibility when it comes to also initiating development. It's the work of the government to also prevail on them to do their part. Are you having issue with the interpretation aspect by the authors of the president, or what?
The issue is the interpretation. Take for example, when Doe were building the SK Dispute Complex, did they say Doe Complex? That means did they say Doe Project? It was announced that the Liberian government is building the SK Dispute Complex. It was announced.
Well, let's also bear in mind, Pa George, the politics of Liberia in today's war, in this contemporary war, is so divisive. Supporters have their own will to retweet, to reconstruct things that they don't even know about, and they just hear Right, and and you are quite correct, because these are talking points. National government and people who speaks for the government should be able to set apart. They should be able to have that fine tune, that language, how to get to the Liberian people. But unfortunately, it's not like that. Some of the very people, they also take it personal and just give that sort of attachment to the president, as if it's not the job of the president. So I see where you're coming from.
That's it. So let's take, for example, the electrification project that Ellen started. From Ivory Coast, people were getting current in Ganta, some part of Grand Union, Maryland for years before Ellen left. People were getting current. Did you hear any of the project being that Ellen project? Did you hear anything like that?
But hold on. How will you say Helen Johnson? You were making comparison to the Samuel Kanyando's Post Complex.
Yes.
Samuel Kanyando's Post Complex initiated from the dates of William Richards Tower. However, it was conclusive under the regime of the late Samuel. So that government obviously gets the credit. So are you saying why I did not see Helen Johnson?
No, what I'm saying here is, at the time, did you hear people call the SKD on that project being that Dole project? Did you hear in Morovia? It was the government of Liberia. When Dole board granted, said the government of Liberia is building the sport complex. It was not Dole project. Then nobody can bring a tip to say Dole. The people said our Dole project there. No, they just said Boulevard. They didn't say what Dole project. It was the Liberian government. Today in contemporary Liberia, everything today is we are project. Now, my question is, when you say we are project, okay, somehow, well, is the money coming from where? Because when you said Mr. Joy project, it means I financing that project personally. Okay, and that's my point of contention. So let me. But that's my point of contention. Maybe you guys something to say contrary to it, but that's my point of contention. It is a government responsibility to.
So how do you want this here to satisfy your curiosity? And that's a genuine argument that you are making. And that's other Liberians, people, depending on who you talk to, and decide to fall on with their political thinking, that they will have their own interpretations, which of course you're not going to advise this government for whatever reason, just for discussion purposes. If you were advising the communication team to the president or the government of Liberia, what sort of language, what tone, how do you want them to interpret government's initiative?
Now, it's just simple, Mr. Soul. If the government is the president going to break ground in Basel for 160 some more hospital bed, what is the big deal if they say today the president is breaking ground for the hospital to build a hospital, or that the government is going to build a 150 some more hospital bed in Bigano? That's done. But it will say the president project.
So how do you feel as a Liberian when the name the president's project is attached to that? What is the connotation of that?
The connotation of me is like president spending his own money, like doing someone a favor. But legally, it's required by the government to develop every sector of Liberia. So if the government is building a school, we want to say the president broke ground, that the government of Liberia has broken ground for 250 bedroom school, the president was there to break the ground. That's done. But why people will all want to tie this thing to the president like personal thing, and that's my point of contention.
So for instance, if for any reason, and I can put my head on the chopping board, I can guarantee I don't speak for the government, I don't speak for the opposition, I don't know who people that you know, we all know people that speak for them. If for any reasons, if that language, for discussion purposes, if that language take a second turn and is properly curved and presented, would that give you a new and different impressions about this government or this president?
Oh no, Mr. So, the government doing this thing for me, if even they change the phrase, there's a broader picture, bigger picture to this thing here. I am concerned about the well-being of the people. You are building a hospital is good, but why are the jobs? You are building a hospital is good. You are building the roads, but the people are living abject poverty. There's no job in the country. I'm talking about the bread and butter issue. People cannot hardly afford to send their children to school. People cannot hardly get a good meal. 90% of the people in Liberia they live in abject poverty. That's my concern. I always say job. Because when these people are employed, they can do
So
something.
are you saying the policy of this government is being appropriated, is not being used wisely? But when you talk about job, when you talk about road construction, let's say, for example, the road from Ganta to Zuedo kicks up. Don't you think that's a job creation if it happens?
How many jobs are you going to create? Have they given any estimate how many jobs are going to create? That correct? How many jobs are going to create?
No, I'm just asking. I'm also asking because you talk about job. But definitely, that human being, people are going to be involved in the construction, obviously.
Yes. Obviously, people will get job. But how many of those people are going to get that job? Look at the population today. How many people graduated from the University of Liberia this current time? How many people will be employed in that area? These are major issues confronting Liberia. The unemployment rate in Liberia, I think they say, 25 or 28%.
Okay,
you know
let's try to zero in here a little bit. And let's do it here because I'm also the president. He's, as far as I'm concerned, he's already the president. He has the job. There are two scenarios involved. He either lose it in the second term when he's seeking to re-election, but we have another group, we have another batch, we have another contingent that are also seeking for this job. These people, are they putting up any alternative plan different from what from as far we are concerned with this sort of conversation that we are having now? Let's dwell on the opposition as well, because they are looking for executive power as well. Are they putting a strategic or plan, anything as far as you are concerned?
Not yet. The conversation is being generalized yet, and I have not seen a package which they will speak to particular how to create job. The other guy heard Mr. Tom is talking about, he wants to grow the budget, and I didn't see him giving specific how he's going to go about growing the budget. So generally, speaking, but specifics are not yet be given. So I will be looking to see specifics how if Comey going to become president, what he's going to do to grow that budget, what are the steps they're going to take to grow job, to produce job for Liberians. So
he was on Spoon Network. We saw a lot of the red meats coming out, and you're quite correct. But when you talk to folks that are with ANC, they will say, "Oh, yes, that he's articulate." And it's not about articulation. It's not about that. The key question here is how. How is it is the key component that was missing. And I even listened to Ambassador Tai Boyka. I have that tape here too. We're going to play it and see whether we can get some pieces as well inside. Now, if I'm hearing this from you, also the opposition, the context in which they are also driven, then that's a serious concern.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is that I listened to the portion of Mr. Comey's interview and Honorable Boyka. It is the job of the journalist to do the follow-up questions, because if the politician speaks, you don't do a follow-up, he will pass by some of the question, the key thing that you're supposed to ask, he will pass by it. Now, when he talked about growing the budget, I did not see a follow-up to say, hey, how are you going to grow this budget from 570 million to maybe 1 billion or 2 billion or whatever? How are you going to make it? So I didn't see that. But again, it's the sometimes when the politician giving this interview, you have to do a follow-up question on specific key issue. He talked about preventive care, which is very important. But where is the money going to come from to build the institution? These are questions need follow-up. Okay, so I'm waiting to see Mr. Cummings to put more meat on the bone on this issue. Generally, he touched on very key issue, but there are certain specifics that people will need to see where the fund going to come from and how you're going to implement them. So these things need to be addressed. the issue of women blogger, and there's no women blogger. And Mr.
Let me see here. Let me see if it is possible, I can play excerpts of that, and for us to listen and the audience to do them a favor. Those who didn't listen, of course, we saw that, appearing on Henry Costa, and I said that.
That was not an interview. That was not an interview. That was Son and Pa talking, because that was Son and Pa talking. That was not an interview.
How can we categorize that? And I know you said that was a chat here, but let's also bear in mind this guy is seeking for the highest office of the land, which he once upon their time occupies as the next second person. So what was the purpose of that? Was it just a mere popular relation that were trying to getting out? And even they were getting out in the context of a popular relation, I don't think it was properly arranged. I don't think it was properly, I see there. But let's listen to some of it, and then we can get the pieces and puzzles. We'll also open the line for our folks here to contribute. Let's listen to this. I kind of say is a Costa short. We fair to give them that credits. Let's see here if I can get that.
Certainly, it is 9 o'clock here, 9 p.m. sharp.
Okay, let me just forward it up in front here a little bit. I just want to see. Okay,
His Excellency, former Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Joseph Yilmon Boakai Senior. He is the political leader of the Unity Party. He's my guest, and I'm humbled and honored to play host to him.
Okay, let's George. We're gonna do it pieces by pieces because I'm about to break it down in my own understanding. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. All right. That's the vice president. That's the vice president. Okay, let me just put it. The former vice president, I seated, appearing on the Costa show. The guy who hosts the BKS platform. So no questions about that. But I found out that there are a couple of things missing, and that was a poor arrangement on the part of folks that close to Ambassador Boyka to get him to be prepared to see him seated in that form. Let's listen to this here. Let's get his first word, and we're going to go to the discussion.
Mr. Former Vice President, most Liberians want an end to the culture of impunity in our country. They want justice served against, for example, the current administration, which I believe will be the past administration in a few years, and for what they're doing to our country, destroying our country. What do you promise you will do if and when you are elected president of Liberia to end the culture of impunity in our country? What would you do, sir?
Henry, when we talk about impunity, we're not just talking about the disregard for the rule of law, the disregard for people's feelings.
Let me stop that here. What is your first observations in that first question coming out of Mr. Costa?
Mr. Sewell, the vice president cannot accuse past government of impunity, or I mean this present government of impunity. He's at 12 years as vice president to Ellen Johnson's sleep. There were mass corruption, nepotism. Impunity was in that government. Did he ever spoke about it? Did he ever say anything? Did he ever say anything about those things? And this is why I continue to ask people, if you are part of the system and you believe that the system is not working, but at the same time getting benefit from the system, and then you come to say that system was wrong, but you didn't speak anything about the wrong of that statement, how can you exonerate yourself from it? And yes, some of the arguments some people are making that what the Bible not getting financially was legally entitled to it. And I say yes, but there's some things are legal, but equals to morally wrong. If you're receiving, because the government says you get 50,000, it's right. But at the same time, thousands of people are going hungry, starving, cannot afford to send their children to school. That makes it morally wrong for you to receive that and get all the benefit and remain quiet and say that because the law says so. And those are some of my points I'm making about the honorable ambassador to speak about impunity today. Where was he? yesterday. The very government said 12 years. I understand the role of the vice president is to advise the president, to assist the president, to vote, to break ties in the Senate. But when there are things going wrong and you don't speak of it, you get the benefit from that system. How can you come against them to question a president's statement, a president government that they are doing something wrong when you benefited from the same thing? How can you reconcile those statements?
Yeah, and that's a very good observation here. And this is what is lacking with our people. And I'm surprised the talking to George Lobo, to Gaia family. I'm not sure whether he's still within a close range of the vice president, Comrade Kessely. To even see the vice president in that sort of setting mood, it's ridiculous. It is absurd. He does not even look presidential. Nobody going to take him serious. Joseph Boycott, who have been supposed to have been seated with the flag of the Republic of Liberia by his side, he served as the number 2 person in government, for God's sake. So that sort of leadership is still within him. But see how he's sitting down. The people did not really prepare him. And I'm quite sure it was a talking point behind the scene. It was not an overnight thing. And from our indications, the questions and the context of the questions Mr. Costa was putting it, one could make an educated guess. I know for sure when you have a share questions with people. Let's listen to some of it and we're going to have a conversation.
But even the fact that you take the resources of a country and use it without a set rule, it's impunity. It means that you don't care what the people feel and you will do what you want to do. So for me, impunity in government, impunity, whichever case, means that it's a disregard for people, their feelings, and that is not something you can compromise. If you want to make sure that you have a country that will provide for its citizens, a country that will respect the rule of law, a country that will respect people, impunity has to be dealt with decisively.
So the country that will respect the rule of law, he was the number 2 person. So is he excluded? Was that only Helen Johnson Sirleaf was in disrespect to the rule of law? And is he not part of that? Is that what he's saying, Mr. George?
Yes, and that is my point I'm making. And I know many supporters of on Barker don't like the statement I'm making, but you cannot separate yourself from that system. When you serve for 12 consecutive years, you enjoy every humility that came with that office, traveling, allowances. We have it on record. You got everything. There were two high-profile killings on Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government, Harry Reid and Allison, and some other killings that went on in Liberia. Did the vice president ever spoke against impunity? And today he coming to question other people? This is what I say.
Let me bring it.
Many supporters don't like it, but that's a reality.
Let's bring into some of our onliners their comments of their tweet here. This is Mr. Joseph Bendy. Mr. Joseph Bendy is saying, Honorable, did Vice President Pence ever criticize Trump despite of the threats on his life? This is the argument. And that's how you're going to find it, depending the individual. Do you go in line with Mr. Benny here? Does that hold a dip of water?
No. Trump did not ask the vice president to go and turn down the election result in the Senate.
Okay, that's what I was coming to. And Penn went in chambers.
Yes,
even though he was there, and people tried to threaten him to kill him.
Yes, he told Donald Trump that was unconstitutional. He could not do it. He had no authority.
Okay, so Mr. Bernard, we will open the line here. Let's see here again. Let's see what the vice president. Let's listen to this here. I'm missing you know the number to call, my man. Let's see.
Level officials of the government of Uganda nobody is off the hook. I just thought I should say that. So now we have 2,000 people.
Okay, no, let me see here.
When elected.
Okay, this is one of the things. This is where I have the problem. This is a clear indication that itself suggests, and I know people are so much enticed and addicted to who watching, who not watching. If anybody in the real-time population world knows that, they will say, "Oh, wait a minute, Boyka, I told you when you come on my platform, you're going to have thousands of people." So you find that sort of distractions, and that also helps to disposition the person. I think they're supposed to be saying, because there's something already been projected in his mind. Supposedly, this is the number of people that are going to be watching, and so you got to do all your best. So there seems to be a constant reminder that, hey, the viewer is growing. You need to come flow. You need to flow. You need to flow. And that, I think that was it was bad. He didn't do good. I mean, his program is heavily watched based on his soundbite, things that he talk and people love to hear. He doesn't need to tell Boyka that itself distract Boyka, because Boyka will begin to project in his mind, okay, this is the number of people that are watching. I need to do all that I can here. I to present myself who I am not, because he was part of the parcel. He was part of the honey cake of Helen Johnson selling. There's no way that he can devour himself. Let's listen to a little bit of it.
In 2024, and inaugurated in 2024, that is, of course, once you've won the nomination of the CPP, you would be inheriting a badly broken economy, a country whose image abroad is in tatters, low investor confidence, perhaps at the all-time low. How would you work to salvage this myriad of problems that you will be inheriting were you elected by the Liberian people to lead them?
Henry, you have to understand that people know who comes to power. They know what the person stands for. They know what you believe in. They listen to what you say. They listen to what they say about you, your conduct. And I definitely believe that a goodwill is out there, but people are looking for a leadership that will provide leadership by example, a leader that has a tradition for being honest and accountable. And I definitely believe that that alone will open doors to investment, open doors to people of goodwill who want to assist. And I definitely believe.
Papa Joyce.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? Goodwill people. He didn't tell us how you're gonna go through the process of doing that. And I was wondering, one of the questions that I've thought that were being asked, he said he was packed, but millions of dollars were also allotted to him. His office, 2 million plus. So I'm wondering why he was packed, whether his cars were all serviced, they were being serviced, and how they were being used. Can we fake this guy for a good deal for Liberia?
No, Mr. So, and this is why I'm telling people, this is the right time now for all to start having the debate. Okay? This is the right time for all to start having the debate, because we will have more time to do research and come up with documents to show if the vice president, and you see, this is why I said the interview was son and father. That's how I tell, because I know Henry Costa. And everybody know Henry Costa. You're a smart young man. But you can see that this thing on a stage, our father in some conversation. The question,
so in other words, it's like Donald Trump going on Sean Hannity or going having a conversation with Laura Ingraham and all of that. That's exactly how it looks like.
Yeah. The question here I wanted to know from Henry Costa to ask Omen Boakai, will he be willing, when he speaks of impunity, will he be willing to audit the very government that he worked for? Will he be willing to audit the Ellen Johnson government when he comes to power? Those are questions I want to know, whether Omen Bwaka, Ambassador Bwaka will audit the Ellen Johnson said government. Those are questions they should be asking him. Then I will give her.
Why you think that question wasn't asked, Pa George?
But Mr. Todd, that's what I'm telling you. This thing was
call me the liberal. I'm not a liberal progressive. Don't call me Toya. We having a good conversation here. I don't want to be something. Something Toya is something Toya.
Mr. So this thing was, that's why I said that was her son and father. It was organized because if I am the first Owen Bwaga to interview him, that would be a different situation.
I'm wondering, and I don't know, the George Lobot and all of those folks, the Gaia family, some of those folks, even Kessley, they are all good friends. And this is where the opposition, in as much we frown on the CDC government, this is where they are also running a risk. They have become more selective where to go. And it is obvious. We see that here. You are not seeing Nancy Pelosi going on Fox News. If he goes, when she ever went on Fox News, probably she will sit with Chris Wallace, now with Sean Hannity, now with Laura Ingraham, now with Carl Carlson, all of them, because they want to destroy you. That I know, politicians to do that. But I see that most of these people, they shield these people, they become so much protected of them. And for this reason, he's gonna keep the can down the road. I'm not sure who reached out to who, and that's the question that I want to know. Who initiated this conversation in terms of Joseph Boyka appearing? Boyka should have appeared on the sister network Spoon TV twice now, as called. But I'm quite sure folks that are closer to Joseph Boyka, the communication team, they found out that he did so poor. First of all, his setting, his presentations, the style in which he was in, it was horrible. So that was one of the things they look at and say, you know what, the vice president has other engagements, so he cannot come. I'm wondering who initiated this conversation.
Mr. Soul, let me tell you something. The road to 2023 just started. So many people will be like, George, we will not appear for debate. Because nowadays, we're going to scrutinize these people. Ambassador Boakai he got questions to answer from the Liberian people. He was vice president 12 years. And you know, this notion that people have that when you're vice president, you're not supposed to say anything to your boss. But you are there to do a piece of job for the Liberian people.
So meaning we can't blame Joy Howard Taylor. Whatever George Weah is doing, allegedly doing, so the apprehensions, the questions that we have, it means we can't blame Joy Howard Taylor tomorrow when she comes back to say and she wants to be a president, which of course you say, I mean, we can answer those questions, correct? Is that the argument?
That's the argument they're making. And some are saying, no, if you are vice president, Joy Howard Taylor has come out to say something, but I'm saying if Ambassador Boakai is talking about impunity in government, and he said that all along, government that have come and go have not been right for Liberians. But he occupied ministerial position in every government from the 70s, from Turbo to Doe.
And the second version with the argument here, okay, Mr. Bernard, let's see Mr. Bernard come on here.
So hold on there. And if he's saying those government had not been the right thing for Liberia, why he continue to work in those government at the ministerial level?
That's what I was coming to here. Mr. Bernard saying here, in modern democracies, the office of the vice president is merely ceremonious, with power centered around the Senate tie, breaking only and presiding over the Senate at times. The vice president lacks executive power except dedicated by the president. So why were you working with somebody as a number 2 person for 12 years and to have apprehensions about that person, and you decide to even go for the other 6 years and still you were holding up to state power? I don't think this is arguable.
No, hold on, Mr. So he did not end that statement. One of the vice president function is to advise, to assist the president, is to advise the president.
Yeah, when the president is incapacitated, you automatically becomes the president of the nation.
So and there's a question I'm continuing to ask then. People who making this argument. So are you saying tomorrow what you would do that to? Now if you have a car and say we will say, okay, yeah, okay, I was doing everything, you didn't have nothing to do it, so you got no blame to carry. That is absolutely wrong.
Joseph Boyka had the guts. He served with Helen Johnson Sirleaf for 12 consecutive years on
He
working
represented the government outside Liberia. He represented the government outside Liberia.
Yeah.
He represented the government outside Liberia.
There was a lot of dedication. There was a lot of responsibility to apportion to him. So I want to, and this is why they need to come on other platforms.
The group was 77. If Fortune at the time was on Joseph Boyka, he appointed her.
National Lottery is on
National Lottery.
On the vice president. I think one of you have making that argument because those things have been stripped from her. So she should be the one to be making those sort of argument here. So that's Joseph Boyka in his first presentation, and there's a big divide. I don't care whether the people agree to it or not. The ANC and the Unity Party people, they are unfriendly. They are not friendly. There's a tussle here. There's a struggle here. Unity Party wants to see herself partisans saying Joseph Boyka is the best person. Okay, the experience is there. Yeah, but what's about making a judgment? Does he have the ability? Does he have the strength? Right now, let's be very strong. Like he produces medical records. Donald Trump medical record, they were challenged. Joe Biden's medical record, they were challenged. Are they willing to come all to empty all to know the fitness of Joseph Boyka?
Yes, Mr. So now that's what I'm saying. 2023 will be different thing. We will start calling for these things because we don't want to put somebody in office, then go for after 2 years, 1 year, the person to say, oh, he's incapacitated, he cannot function. So we want to know the medical history of these people who will be occupying power now. We don't want to sweep this in under the rug, and this is the argument that some are putting forward now. So I understand all the guys we talk.
Let's have a more interactive. Let me take this caller here. I was just about to put the number up. All right, I have on the line 718 number 0845. Caller, good evening. What's your name and where you calling from?
Yes, this is Zina Door. When you call up in Colorado.
Okay, my dear brother, welcome to this talking point. Let's see here if we are making sense here. Where are we going wrong here tonight?
We all basically what you guys saying. I'm leaning towards like the our other brothers explain, trying to give more insight on the office of the president. For people, they just explain how low our people have become. So think that president, vice president just sit there. How come they come in? Okay, I agree that the vice president just sit there. He does not do anything. Vice president are elected people. He was elected on the ticket of the president. That basically explains that he and the president have the same agenda. So the president fails to do what the agenda is. You have a vice president. You gotta know. You gotta let people know where you stand when it comes to national development. It will be the vice president. And the president is that working in consensus with what you guys planned initially. As a vice president, as a sound person who has integrity, you back up. Let the people see your integrity as a vice president. But you sit there for whole 12 years, made more than $2.4 million, then you still have the state to save the people. I thought massive story and still going to be president. But that explains, like I said earlier, how low our people have gone. In a sound country where you got conscious population, but I will not have the face to say you will be president. You will not do a lot of things and more massive than naive people. That's it. So I will just listen.
Yeah, so let me just ask you here. Every comment on this network, people are held responsible of their comments or their statement here. Thank you for calling in. So with this here, are you taking it from the perspective of liberalization policy, or are you maybe on the other side of the political for which you are making this statement?
The rational statement with me, every president.
No, I mean you. You seem to be. I'm asking now. Are you speaking as a Liberian So opposition or as seditions, if you will. I just want us to have that sort of clarity here.
I'm a neutral. I may be opposition, but I'm neutral. I'm not leaving out.
Say that again.
And they try to defend the stupidity. But let me say this real quick. We have to be very careful though. Even though Baka has proven to be a failure and Joya is failing, we have to be very careful how we scrutinize or criticize Baka, because Kumi, they in the same system. There is room there. And Joya is failing.
Somebody lower your monitor, please. The other person, please lower your monitor. We're getting a feedback. Okay, go ahead.
So there is room that Baka and Kumi, the one person emerges as the sinner bearer. I'm starting to observe that on these social platforms, those that support Black Eyes, they are trying to create any shape to those that support Kumi. And that's a serious problem. Both of these guys are on the same platform. Black Eyes has their own audience. If the Kumi supporters just be in the habit of disgracing the Black Eyes supporters, that could be a problem for Kumi going forward. So even though some of us know that Black Eyes are qualified, we have to be very motivated because we want Black Eyes supporters.
Okay.
So join up when time comes.
Okay.
To defeat winner.
Okay, hold on. Maybe somebody might want to counteract your point, so you will have a fair share to respond. Let me go to this number here from the Constitution state. Let's see what a Constitution want to kick in here this evening. 202 number tie 9037. Caller, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Walter Keller. Thank you, Brother So, for having me from the Shawaka Show.
So,
yeah, I called you to speak about some of the things that George was talking about concerning the project this president is undertaking in the country. And he said the things that bother him most is people personalize the project, which means attach it to the president. I don't know which world he lives in. We live in these great United States. We know the American government has their own money. The stimulus built our past, which means they gave it Joe Biden stimulus bill. The Affordable Care Act that was passed. Who went behind it? Obama. So people turn to give names to projects that presidents undertake based on their own feelings. The president did not come out and say, this is George Weah. You put my name on it, George Weah. But people will name it because this is his time. That's what he's doing. And he's going around developing. I think what is most and commenting for this president is in the history of our nation, the hinterland have started to experience some of the things that Monrovia or the capital experienced since 1847. The hinterland started experiencing.
What are some of those things?
Our people, our indigenous people from the remote part of the country celebrating because it is the first time seeing light.
Hold on there.
Asking, I mean, getting mad or feeling bad because they attached that project to President Weah. I think this is not even something that anybody in the logical mind would even want to talk about. What is most important now is the deliverable. Are the people satisfied, of what is being delivered? Yes. Are there more to do? Yes. Or we can say because the president is attached to it, so there's not true. Argument is absolutely wrong.
Mr. Soul,
okay. I'm coming. All right, hold on. Okay, Pa George, I'll be coming to you. Let me go to this number here, 610 number 9949. Are you there, 610 number?
Yes.
Okay, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Okay, my name is Moses Sandy. I'm calling from Upper Darby, Pennsylvania.
Okay, Mr. Sandy, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, put into get us on track here this evening. It seems to be into all of us screwing up here. Who knows? You get a resolution to this conversation here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to contribute on the issue that had to do with the former vice president role as a VP. I think if I'm correct or not, you guys have the most experience, so you can tell me when I'm right on that. The vice president of a country in a democratically elected government serves both roles as in the executive branch and also in the legislative. So if people are arguing that the vice president is just some, somebody adult who just sit and being, remote control by the president, I disagree with that. Because the vice president is the president of the Senate. It is within the Senate that decisions in the country are made. So the vice president has more grip on what's going on in the country, even than the president, if I should be correct. Because he sees in and out. He's within the executive and he's also within the legislative. Two branches of government. This man serves in for 12 years. And for people to say today that the vice president had no idea what was going on in the country and he could say nothing about it. So I do have serious problem with such an argument. If the supporters of Ambassador Walker want to have a debate about the role of the former vice president doing year to a year of reign in Liberia, they can bring it out and we can argue it. But to divorce the vice president from Madam Salif, there's an argument that will not hold in Liberia. And I believe that was some of the reasons he lost the going elections. And so if they are bringing back these kind of arguments, if they are not for any solution or answer to those questions that were asked in 2017, and they think they're going to come back, no question will still be asked. So, they can bring in on a sisterly, program, maybe, what's the name, Costa Show, or some of the CPP, pro CPP talk show on the social media to ask a further question and do not want to facing people like you who will be rational, to ask them that they have a question, then they can go ahead. But the Liberian people are waiting in 2023 to also ask that question. So, I mean, that's my other contribution, but I hate when people are always trying to divorce this man from the former president.
Okay, let me do a quick round study with you guys here, and then I'll go back to Pat George. So you listen to Ambassador's breakout. Do you have a chance to listen to Alexander Cummings, ANC Cummings as well? Are you there, Mr. Bandit? I say, did you listen to Cummings as well on Spont Network during the interview?
Oh, you talking to me?
Yeah.
Factually, I did not listen to Cummings, but I was listening to the analysis made by the guys of Spont FM. But the issue that I also have from what I listened to from the Spont host was Mr. Cummings mentioned that he was going to take our budget from $500 million to $1 billion. So my question is, how is he going to do this? Did he explain? Like I said, I did not listen to the
and that's the sickening part, that the ability of folks to follow, because this is why when you are even interviewing, when you are talking to people, you have to listen keenly. Don't allow people to just throw crab in the basket and say, okay, yeah, I'm just going to cook crab, and they don't even going to have shrimp and all of that inside. They did not even go on a follow-up question. And that comes to mind the same way the CDC did. The government was oversized. They have all of these accelerate, and part of which is that's the same thing the opposition is doing. The reason you see them having all of these accelerate here, the comparison that is being made, the tie-up is being made. We have the Jefferson Koji and all of the Mahmoud Kamara, all of these people come to power. It's how they're going to increase the size of government. And that's what I've not even seen policy-wise, the opposition, how they're going to downsize government, how they're going to create job opportunity, what sort of investment, where their investment going to be to create job opportunity. Nobody is talking about that. 99% of the talking point is being dwelled on George Weah. George Weah is already president. He's not looking for the job. There are two scenarios involved. He either loses it or he wins it. You are looking for it. So you have to work aggressively. I draw that fine line of demarcation. You can't take 2 hours of your time as a supporter of the opposition and talk about George we are bad doing, and you cannot provide alternative. Some of us, other rational people, they will say, well, wait a minute, this is not what I want to hear. I'm already dying. I'm looking for doctors, and you are not telling me that you're going to bring doctors who are going to make sure to be checking my blood pressure, to make sure my cholesterol and everything is in type. Instead, you're telling me that you're going to be no doctor. I will have no interest to listen to that.
Right. Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another thing is I have problems with these guys going on the social media platform and people treating them like, with some favor. Ask the man the tough question. This is about our country. If everybody sit here today and say, look, Georgia is we having issue with the current president or with the current government, we should make sure that we vet whosoever that the Liberian people want to elect tomorrow. So like you said, Georgia is there to win in 2023 or he's going to lose. Well, if he loses, who do we put there? Now, here in the United States of America, Joe Biden projected a national infrastructure, development plan, and then he came up with a projected budget,
right?
Almost $3 trillion. Now the question people are asking: how do we pay this money back? Joe Biden will tell you where and how this money will be paid back. Fine. Mr. Kumi said he's going to take our budget from $500 million to $1 billion. How is this going to happen? He did not explain to us to understand. And the man
did he tell us whether he's going to downsize government or increase government? But if anybody who looks between the line, definitely the size of government will be double. The same thing CDC government did. So there's no difference. I am not hearing any of them to condense to say this is how we're going to downsize government. This is how we're going to bring down government expenditure in order to reflect the budget that we have. Nobody is talking about that. You have rural development, you have popular work, you have this. Some of these ministry needs to be condensed and operate within the framework of the limited resources that you have. But guess what? They will not tell their supporters, because if they did that, it means they would not be able to offer them job. And that's the whole sad thing about this whole thing here. All right, I want to go back to my guy here quickly. Let me see here. 203, make your last point, and 719 before I go back to my George. 203, do you have any point to make?
Yeah, so another thing about Alexander Cummings, when I listened to him, I was kind of shocked. He said they asked me a question about a constituents or base. And, as a political institution, does he have a base in the country? And that he can depend on, like CCC has a stronghold, or Unity Party has a stronghold, Green Johnson Party has a stronghold. ANC does not. And they actually, ANC does not have to have a base. We live in the West, and we see when they projecting the election result from the America, you see that it will say Pennsylvania, this is a state, a red state, the blue state.
What is CDC base now?
You understand? This may not have any base. You understand? So it's gonna, and then he come in. One of the things that really bothered me, to be honest with you, brother, so I thought Alexander Cummings would be the real alternative. Had he not associated himself with those corrupt people that he formed the collaboration with, he could start with.
When you say corrupt people, who are the corrupt people? Don't leave that. Don't leave the basket cover for us here and unveil the basket.
It's not a hidden fact. It's an open fact. The basket, you have Joseph Walker that was dismissed from his position 2 times in 2 different administrations. It's an open fact. The same people that supporting it, they even talk about it. The Carrots did not talk about it. He brought that thing. It was in the fire newspaper. Under Amos Sawyer, the late Samuel Doe also did the same thing. You understand? So, and he openly admitted that it's one opportunity. My brother, go today. I mean, you get the video today with Siku.
And that's why I want to, and I want people to ask that questions. What is the interpretations of squander? Those are key words coming from these politicians, but people deliberately, I pivot. They don't want to ask these people these questions because it might be politically embarrassing. So they will find it very difficult as to how they can interpret it, the real meaning of that. Because I want to know, I want to get his own interpretation to say we squandered the opportunity that we had. What is he saying?
So if you ask me that question, I would say wasted. Squander means to waste.
I want to hear from the I want to hear from the houses. I want to see the sort of interpretation or the polishing that you're going to do. All right, my man. Thank you. Let me go to
your caller.
Are you still there?
Yes, sir. Let me be really brief. There's so much to talk about. I wish I could have time one day to come and show you and explain what the governor is and how.
Oh, absolutely. We are always open to let us know. We are always open here to have this sort of open discussion. It doesn't matter which group you represent. Once you let us know, so we can make room for that.
I will appreciate that. And the days from us start working for Kumi, there will be a whole brand new Kumi because Kumi still need room to grow. But real quick, my issue with the vice president is that, Mr. So, right? There's a thing I learned when I went to leadership school. If you cannot add 1 + 1, there's no way I would be convinced in asking for 10. You see? So you'll be able to do the basic thing, you'll be able to do the big thing. If you're not effective as a vice president, how should it matter? He can do as a president. Very different.
Whoa! You're injecting something here. Are you saying he did not serve effective as a vice president? Is that your thinking?
He was a massive failure. And that's what the question I asked Bakas was is that how can you exonerate Bakas in corruption when he was part of one of the most corrupt governments in the world? For more than 12 years.
Probably he didn't participate in the corruption. Probably the 12 years he did not participate in the corruption. Maybe. I'm just making an educated guess.
Okay. The question still remains, how can you be exonerated from the government that you said I was one of the most corrupt governments for more than 12 years? So the one I've actually answered that yet is still pending. What I'm trying to really focus is that this is how I know that the Liberian government, even the current government and the last government does not mean well for the people. Because if a government comes to office that mean well, that tries to do best for the people, you will see diversification of resources. I don't know what the people back home know what that means. But that basically means if you get rubber, you tap the rubber, you use that rubber to make tires and make dishes. That's how you diversify resources. And we get a lot of them. We got rubber. We got iron ore. You take the iron ore, you make car engine, you make steel. That's diversification of resources. When you do that, guess what happens? It creates more jobs. Very basic. If you're not doing these things, where do you look? Where are you looking to create jobs? Because the thing you should use to create jobs, you take it all out of the country. Make us still revenue more than 1.5 billion annually. How much are they not going to do? Like I said, there's so much to talk about. I'll just
all right. Thank you so much. Let us know where we can make time here. Okay. Pa Josh.
Yes.
This is quite interesting. If one to say it's all over, I don't think it is over yet. And as much as bad it looks like, and some of the functioning, but I think there's going to be a heated fight within the opposition column as well, with somebody, because Cumming also walks scot-free. And I think Keith was very careful, was very aggressive. He really pushed Cumming on the edge. He makes him to answer some tough questions. And that's why sometimes I listen to people, oh, the man, that's his job. He supports the government, so of course, he's going to put bone in the throat of Cummings. Listen to the question that was asked when it came to this World and Economic Crime Court. Alexander Cummings' response answers is no different from that of George Weah's answers when he left the United Nations and arrived in Liberia. To say he's going to appoint a commission. What sort of commission you going to appoint? What's going to be the role of that commission? When either Kev or Minister Doe pushing, do you agree with Councilor Vardia that the president is a murderer? What did Cummings say? He said no. You listen to that, right? He said no. So it means this issue of war crime code and economic crime code, they do not know how it's a volatile and octopus situation scenario it is when you are in the bear wheel. And I see people talking here, oh, we will do this, they will do this. These are questions these politicians cannot be defended to answer, because when you get in the system, you become entangled, because the same very people, those are the people that you're going to meet. And it's not like a unilateral decision that you're going to take. Alexander Cummings did not answer that. When you bring Joseph Boyka today, he will pivot cleverly using his political maneuver to provide an answer that you will not understand.
Mr. So, yes, the thing here, Mr. So. The question that if George Weah is a criminal, I would say George Weah is not a murderer, because we have to be very careful, Mr. So. And though asking the question, I know where he comes from here, minister, but
no, I think he was asking that question in connection to the ridiculous statement Jerome Vardia, had made on Spoon TV.
Yes.
And I don't know why the facilitator on Spoon TV allowed him to walk away. You can't come, he's a lawyer. If you know that this president is a murderer and he has a high court evidence as you profess it to be, what is he waiting for? Why will you know somebody that is a murder and you continue to have it, or you continue to withhold evidence? It means you are a collaborator.
What there's no controversial. What controversial was alluding to, now he is the president. He presides over the country, and all these things happening in the country. And if
he didn't just want to say that, he said he have a high court evidence that he was involved. And they have things to prove. So, okay, that's fine. If you have something to prove, what are you waiting for? Why you can't present it to other courts, the ECOWAS and other people? Why you can't present those evidence if you have that indeed the president is actually involved in the killings of these auditors? These are people, families, and every Liberian, including myself, everybody wants to know. But when you come and make those sort of sweeping blanket statement without supported fact, I see a circumstantial, and he doesn't hold a dip of water.
It is circumstantial to make that statement. I don't know what evidence Jerome Berry has, but what I'm seeing here, Mr. Cummings could not say yes, because Mr. Cummings don't know the evidence that Councilor Berry has, and Cummings probably don't have any evidence that President Weah can tie into a murder. Because if you say so, yes, that means you Cummings will have to produce document.
Exactly.
So that's what Cummings said no. But one of your speakers spoke about something that he said he said one of your speakers said that since the founding of Liberia, what President Weah, no government has done that. And I want to tell people, some people, I think maybe they don't do the research, or they are very short-sighted. Prior to the war, did he ever went to Grand Gita or Maryland or Basel? There were legislators in all the places. After all the Zedru, after all the Basel, Maryland, Sano, all the places had Ganta. All the places had legislated.
Okay, Mr. Joyce, not to interrupt you, let me get this guy from Australia, sure. I believe Australia, and then we will soon be wrapping up here after 10 here. Okay, let me go to this number here. It's 610 number 349. Caller, are you there? Good morning or good evening.
Yeah, I'm here, sir. First of all, I want to say thank you for the show. I always listen to you guys, and I think you guys have a very mature conversation, and you guys are very careful with words to use, and I really like the way you guys present yourselves to the audience. The last time I called a couple of times, and there was no response to my call. Nobody picked up.
I'm sorry. Sometimes then it probably yeah. Sometimes these things are crazy too. We apologize for that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was in connection to the violence at that time in Maryland.
Okay.
And I wanted to, I wanted to give my ideas about things, my own personal experience about things, how I'm feeling about things in Liberia. And I'm actually appealing to you to give me a little bit more of time to explain to you other things that are even happening in my country, trying to country, Greenville. I'm from District 2, and other things that are happening. I really don't like the way things are going. I really want to bring your attention to these kinds of things, you know. Okay. First of all, let me start. Let me start with this.
Are you quickly? Are you willing to appear here, so we can get a clear insight and not to do it? If there are things that are really people, the public needs to know, is that something you're willing to do?
Yeah, I think we from this movement on, I don't want to appear now. I'm doing a documentary. I paid my brothers someone to do a documentary. And do a little videos because I don't want to appear and talk about things that we're just saying, but right. I want to talk about things that we can relate to.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Yeah, so first of all, the issues of people. If you look at our country, Liberia today, if you look at our country, Liberia today, you see the way people come in, the Lebanese people come in. And the way the Fula people, some of the Guineans and Mandingo people come in to make business. And if you look at the way our students are getting out of university, every time some of them are doing business management, some of them are retailers, some of them are doing all kinds of things to get in the business industry. But they're not getting job. And next year again, some will come up, there's no job. And then the following year, some will come up, there's no job. And my question is, what is this government and the entire government, the government in general, including the Senate and the House of Representatives, doing in order to address those issues? Because the fact that I'm an Australian, you don't come from outside Australia. If I own a shop in Australia, I cannot bring my brother to Australia to work in the shop. No, that's not the Australian standard. You have to employ somebody that lives in Australia. If I break my brother, he cannot work in the shop that I own. That's not the Australian standards. What you're doing is you bring in people to take the job that our people are supposed to be doing. We're seeing that the Lebanese people, a lot of Lebanese people from Lebanon and down to Liberia to work in the shop. That shouldn't even be the case. Why did you bring your brother? If you can employ somebody, we have people that meet the criteria to work in Liberia. Look, we because most of our cars are on the, I think, right in the thing. We took a car from now to Monrovia to the Free Post, and we try to turn it to the left end because that is the standard there in Liberia. The guys that were doing the job, we found out that they were all Nigerian. Why?
The why, let me tell you a brief story.
We said the youth are jobless. We're not going to perform magic to get the youth job. We're just going to use simple knowledge. You bring in those guys from Guinea, they will come from Guinea, they bring their family, they work.
So more or less, you are speaking in the context of this sort of a human capacity building. That's something we must invest into so that our own people will be able to do these things. My guess this is where you are driving.
Yes, that's where I'm driving at. Yes. You see the Lamani people, the Fula, the Mandingo, they come from Guinea and then they come to our country.
No, but are you also aware that Mandingos? We have Mandingos in Liberia, though.
I'm talking about the Guinean Mandingo. I'm not talking about.
But how
for everybody that are listening, I've got a Mandingo cousins and things. So I'm not talking about my Mandingo. I'm mainly speaking about people that come from out of our country. I'm not Liberian. They come to our country. They open the shop.
Okay, I don't want anybody to also misinterpret you and say, oh, there's somebody came on to LPR and say, oh, Manigo people come because sometimes people just grab something and die wrong way. Okay, but man,
yeah.
I think that's a great parcel there, and
yes,
yeah, I think that makes sense, and it just speaks to the point again of our people inability to empower people to be very strategic, where they can find their people to be more functioning. I think that's where the problem is. All right, my man. Thank you so
yes,
much.
and most about you. I'm sorry, I got my little brother, and the man just in the university. He just loitering all around the place. I asked him, what is he doing now? Oh, my man, no job, blah, 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 blah. What is he doing? I mean, it's sad. You can't even tell him to, I mean, how can a guy graduate from University of Liberia and be looking for a security job? I mean, it's not motivating. I mean, why would I even encourage another person to say go to university again?
Yeah, Bernard, you're quite correct. You're focusing on the liberalization policy. That those are things that Tubman and preach, but that they were saying one thing and policy-wise they were doing different things. Okay, my man. Thank you. Let us know. You have this number here when your documentary is completed and you want to share with our audience, with the public. Definitely, we can give you the opportunity for us to have that conversation.
Yes, thank you for that. If you can just allow me 1 minute, let me reflect on things that
Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Sano to my second county that I got raised in Sano, went to school, elementary school in Sano, the Poor River, that my area there, my man.
Yeah, I know Poor River. I grew up in Sino. I used to live in Mississippi Street. Yeah. Some of the things is that my hometown, like District 2, where the mining, they call the place Gold Camp. Look, the things that are happening, they're very bad. They're terrible. We got people who work with the government. They say they do environmental science and all this kind of things. It's not working. Look, there are creeks that we used to know back in the days that we used to go and swim in. The people mine and they block the creek does not exist anymore. The creek does not exist anymore. You're wiping our history away. Like our people used to do hunting and things back then. Now the people, they can't go hunt anymore because everywhere there is mining and the people go in the people traditional forest and all this kind of thing. They mine there and things. And I mean, those, even some of them, the mining, they don't want it. The legal document that will make sense, they doesn't even have it. If people just going there, I mean, doing all kinds of things, breaking the trees down, deforesting our forest, entering the unit. Look, so just recently, and speaking to you, the majority are Ghanaians. Just recently, the Ghanaian government deported over 200 Nigerians doing illegal activities in Ghana. And our people are there. There is no drinking. Our people since 1847, from back, according to history, when our people started living there back in the 1820s and things, according to what my father told me, is it's true. Back in the 1820s to this day, our people are still drinking creek water from the creek. And imagine the people that are doing the mining, they're pouring the water. The water is dirty. If you even see the water, you're not even think of what somebody can wash clothes with the water.
Okay, my man. All right, let's call it for the rest of this evening. Let us know. Keep a posted. If the documentary you are talking about, they become more concrete for us to have that sort of conversation. And who knows, we can also invite local authorities in order to give them the opportunity to address themselves to whatever they're going to be unfolding. But I thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us this evening.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Okay, Pa George.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So I think it's 10:17 now. You can keep the omen up this sort of to keep you, but I would already appreciate you always coming here to provide insight. Let's put the cap on the hair. So the opposition, what do you think going to happen? It's hard to determine who's going to be on top. I saw where his name said Emmanuel Yato and other folks. trying to feed the bite or throw some sort of bait there and to see it. Darius Dillon is still also tight-lipped. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. But the folks with the ANC, the Unity Party, with Benana Urate, I can tell in that one, I can say OUT, he's out. Benana Urate is all in this to protect his wealth that he has amassed greatly, so that because anything anytime when government goes on him, he be in the opposition to the talking point will be there's a witch hunt. So he is being strategically positioned to protect his wealth as long as he remains opposition. Why some of them can't even want to be senator to representative? Well, I don't understand why they can't test their political will. I don't get it. So
No, yeah,
that is out of the question.
yeah, it's the thing. So the way the Liberian government of Liberia is settled, it's difficult for you to go in the Senate or House of Representatives to make any headway. See, that's why people always want to be president, because the power that the people have invested in the presidency of Liberia is too great. When you're there, you cut any chance. Take for example, look at Dylan in the house. She said he done with all what he's doing. There's strong resistance to him. So that's why I say most people want
Talking about resistance, has it conducted himself to the extent where there can be a room of some sort of bipartisan to get some of the things gone? Do you think he has done enough to do that?
No, he started to do it now. He's doing it now. I think he's getting to realize that.
I think what has been happening, and I could be wrong, it could be my wrong interpretations or misconceptions about him. I think he's been playing that sort of trump card play to his base. There are things that his people, his followers, his supporter likes to see him doing, and those are the kind of things that he's been doing. But in that house is a house of either. You have to create some sort of avenue because you want to have a legacy. It's not all about opposing the opposing. There can be some good things. I'm wondering one of these days, won't he, Carlos Gray, John Kanga Lawrence, the Darius Dillon, where they can sit as a politician, put aside being a sedition, put aside being a liberty partisan, and say, hey, this is a national cause. This is the bill that we need to vote. People have been murdered. People have been killing. They're killing people. Things are happening. We are, and that's as a fresh branch of government, they must be held accountable. But these people are not having a conversation. All is about division, blame game. This one are doing this. This one are doing this. We accusing the police. We front on the police. How much is being provided to the police? They make this appropriation of functionaries of government. Are they giving the government, are they giving the police enough money to have the logistic to carry on things they're supposed to be doing? They are not doing that. It's all well with them. And then they come back, to frown on the same government. I think that's been disingenuous.
It is, but yes, the thing is so the life of most seditions in the Senate, they don't see anything wrong with the government. So if you try to point out anything to them, you'll be there with strong resistance. Look at Akaya Gray in the House of Representatives. What Akaya Gray do say about the government? Do you hear ever Akaya Gray saying anything wrong with the government?
Is that persuasion? Is that been that effective? Have they been very little bit persuasive to get this here? Because it's all about power struggles. I can win over Pat George. Pat George can win over me. That's the kind of that's what they're doing in there. And so nobody is willing to give. In politics, it's all about give and take. We see it here. There are some compromises. Both the Republicans and the Democrats, the House leadership can come to. They'll say, hey, this is what you can do. And if we do this, this is what we want you to, this is what we want to get in return. How many times have we seen our politicians going in that sort of direction to have that sort of conversation? They don't. They don't.
And this is why I'm trying to tell you, I think Dylan is lying. Look, the other guy sort of a late debate. about this $25 million what we're giving for COVID relief. Sir Joseph Stuart said they should not call Western Tappet then. They should call the WFP. And everybody said, no, we cannot call this program. I mean, these people to come explain to us. The people that represented us, we gave them power. They outsourced this thing to the people. So we have to call them and call them. They will call the people that they gave the contract to, outsource the contract, so they can explain to them. But Sir Joseph, Vimeo was opposed to that. Until other senators agreed to say, oh, no, we have to call, because the UAP will not answer to us. We have to call the professor Wilson and other people who took this money, and they said they gave the contract to them so they can explain to us what these people have given them. They report what feedback from these people to them, to us. These are some of the things.
That's a very disappointing aspect. Listen to Professor Tappet. He's my own cutting out. These are people who, unfortunately, I'm not sure what sort of help they are having to the president, or whether they have been very, very honest to the president. This is the guy that said he was one of those that are with this whole COVID thing. And he said, okay, well, WFP couldn't do that because another layer. Today, we just do not know the layer that was added to this whole thing here, and that's the end. So, I mean, it's just, it's a Liberia story. It's just an endless story. It is unfortunate. These politicians, all of them, they are not honest. They do not like their country, and even all of the folks that we were talking about that got elected, they are doing what they are doing. It's all about their jobs. That's why we don't have a website. You there, you know how much your lawmaker is making. You know which phone number to call if you want to speak to your representative, your senator in Washington, D.C., their local offices. None of our people, the 103, all of them come and talk and talk and talk. It just doesn't add up. The talk thing that they talk, and they do not do what they talk. All of them, they are the same. They do not have local offices. They do not do any recess. They do not go down to their people to have a break, to have a conversation. But it's all about the money. And again, there's huge, fabulous, getting these fabulous paychecks, and the ordinary policemen, people that were from or who are done providing security here in Liberia, they can be anywhere. But I just think it's been the police is over less than $10 million for the country. It's just a peanut change. It's a joke. So the police is overstressed, and these people who makes allocation, who to determine the fate of the budget, they do not have the guts to say, if we are to hold the police, if we are holding the security apparatus responsible of crimes being committed, that's not a justification of people killing people. But I think they need to be equipped, they needs to be empowered, they needs to be enforced. We need more police. We have less than 3,000 policemen, that I can say. So it is just not. It is, look at the situation that was going on in Nima. Suppose they have turned out to be the worst scenario. It means you're going to start taking troops from Monrovia, from the capital, to carry them to Nima. The time they're going to take to get in Nima, destructions and of lives and property will have already been in full swing. All right.
Yes, but this is the problem. So, and someone will speak up. The Nima issue yesterday I was talking about, and exactly what I was talking about today. Billy was saying the same thing. And I said it yesterday. Mike Jabate was speaking to an audience. This man is looking for fame, and exactly what I was saying yesterday.
Well, he was talking some ridiculous thing tonight on SK TV again.
You see,
that people when they will close gas station, they will close, there will be no taxi.
When Billy,
what sort of nonsense is that?
Nonsense. When Billy said he went up to Nima yesterday, he said the issue is not travel. It's 15 persons that involved in the situation. Mike Jabate turning it to Mandingo issue. And that's why I say it's a Mike Jabate should not be the face of this issue. Mike Jabate is playing on certain group of people to get fame and money from them. Jabate today, when Belete spoke, Belete said he's been up there to Nima, he has spoken to the people, and he even alluded to the fact that this Chief Justice, first of all, has nothing to do with what is going on. He said there's the one man, 15 people who have received money from the past government to vacate the premises. They never did it. This is what happened, but we'll leave that for another discussion. But I'm seeing the people, Mike Jabate, they are all for trouble in that country. But I just want to leave it on this note. The police has been underfunded by the CDC-led government. These guys have been pushed. These guys are overwhelmed with the situation in the country they cannot handle. But the government go and take $2.5 million and give the class we are office instead of supporting finding some of that money to the Liberian National Police. So let me just leave it on a note. Those who say, I'm seeing it, no CDC person should come here and speak about corruption. They should not speak about it. They should not be the one to talk about anybody being corrupt. Sedition should not speak about corruption because they are not swimming in it. And on this note, let me leave it again. Former Vice President Joseph A. Boagai presided over the Liberian Senate that signed 63 contracts, concession agreement for Liberia. And Boagai was there. The bogus contract was signed on his watch. So those who say he's not corrupt, that debate, we're going to bring it on. We'll kick that ball on. 2023 will not be easy. We're not going to let anybody to go into that office like what George Weah said he cannot go for debate. No way. We'll scrutinize everybody that wants to go to that office.
Let me sound ridiculous here before you go. Why your country Joel Howard Taylor? Is he still in the photo?
Well, Joel now she's just there for the instant because she's not in that photo. She had been decapitated by President Weah. And because
I'm wondering what's going to happen.
Oh,
do you have an idea?
Oh yeah, this year.
Do you think you think she's still going to be on the ticket?
No, she will not be on that ticket.
Would that be a risk if she's when she's off the ticket? Would that be a big political race on the part of CDC?
It will be, and she will not go back there. But here's the thing here.
If she decides to do that voluntarily, will she come up publicly to address herself to that? You think?
Oh yeah, she will come up. You see, that she's preparing for that. She will come up. She will open up. She will open up. But you see, people already vying for that position. I can tell you, I can give you name people now who trying to vie for that position. Edwin Snow.
Edwin Snow.
Prince Moyu. Nukwe. These are people who are not vying for that position.
To capture the imagination of Bon County.
Yeah, those are people.
If that happens, would that be a big risk?
Yeah, that would be a risk. Because why you think you treat Joel Howard that you're not treating Moyu like that when you get the presidency?
So that what makes it a risk. That's
what I'm telling you.
It would be quite fascinating if and only if that happens. I want to know what would be Joel Howard's position when it comes to that. All right, we want to leave it there for another time. George, I want to thank you. But there was something that I listened to. Let me just play it. There was a quite interesting question. In this, there's a forum called Mo Ibrahim Foundation. Paul Kagame of Rwanda. He was in a conversation. Let me just put his picture here. And this is Paul Kagame of Rwanda. He was in a conversation Mo Ibrahim Foundation, and a South African consultant asked a consequential questions. Let's listen to this before we go.
And he is willing to answer any question. Please, mics. Okay, we'll come to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nomashu Bingume from South Africa. I work as a consultant for the Department of Trade and Industry. And my question to His Excellency is, what is your succession plan for Rwanda? And if that succession plan includes changing the constitution and running for a 10th term, how are you going to ensure that you don't fall into the pitfalls of the predecessors that have stayed in power very long, who started off delivering for the people and then somehow forgot or got lost in the...
Okay, question is clear.
Okay.
I think that was a very interesting question about our young South Africans wanted to know the president about his succession because it's in his sixth time and whether there going to be a change in constitution, so like the case of Alassane Ouattara of La Cote d'Ivoire. But George, I want to thank you so much always for your expertise, for being here. And that the Liberal will be on here tomorrow as well, Friday.
I think you'll come on because the way I'm not jumping on podcast.
Well, the Liberal said he's going to be giving his view on the boycott, chit chat, or interview, or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to wait and see. All right, Joyce, I want to thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you, Mr. So, and have a blessed.
Okay, and of course to our valuable follower listeners, for those of you chilling with us for the very first time, I want to thank you so much for sharing your evening with us, your comments, your tweet, whatever. We want to appreciate you. We always welcome views and opinions to be expressed here. However, views and opinions expressed on this network does not in any way represent the management and staff of the Liberia Public Radio, but we have to facilitate these high call conversations. So I want to thank all of you so much for your time, DJ Awakant, Uncle Ben, of course, our own man, Eduardo, Madam Annie. Anna, thank you so much. Robert Zawit, Mr. Keller, James, Lieutenant Fodet, all of you beautiful people, to all about Telewire. I had a classmate, Richard Telewire, way down to Ghana Special Project School, taught me how and all of that. And of course, what's valuable to parent a listener, Marie, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. I wanted to try to pick time here so we can also hear from you. Mr. Charles Flomot, and of course, my own brother Thomas Soul is chilling with us from Liberia. Thank you so much. Christopher Lotti Tobasi, and Lasana again, I call your name, Lincoln Gatti, Lincoln, thank you so much for joining us. And the list goes on. Of course, Madam Hammond, Richard, thank you so much for being part of our tonight's program. We always like to have you. Please don't hesitate to share your views, your comments, send us inbox. We learned about the death of a young man again today in Liberia. Unfortunately, Director Moses Carter should have appeared on this network. This is his third or fourth time. I don't know why. I did not get any message. But we also saw that I listened to Howard, Blind Justice Howard, yesterday. And there was a guy, I believe he's a sheriff. The incident that took place in Kawa, the gentleman that was killed, the body was deposited behind Window Chapel. I listened to that last night on our show. Who happens to be the immediate person, relative, was providing that narrative. People send that picture and all of that. But that's very, very, very saddened. So we hope we will get from the authorities so that will give us a sense of what is happening. Our prayers and thought goes out to those people. Until then, I'm a Fonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
I will lift up my voice to heaven and give you the highest praise. Hallelujah to my King. Hallelujah to my Father. Hallelujah to my Jesus. I bow before the throne. When I look at all the wonder and I see all the creation, the beauty of the universe, you never change. You never.
This is El Piero TV with Afonso Z and Soul, live from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. In today's discussion, we will highlight high-call issues from the motherland, Republic of Liberia, and issues affecting our community. Asking tough questions is vital to me to have my listeners and viewers informed with the sole purpose of demanding answers that are authentic and meant to be head-scratching situation. Oh yes, to add pageantry to the conversation, senior analysts and contributors of the Liberia Public Radio are here to dissect the conversation. From Baltimore, senior analyst Professor Asese Labozalo, CEO, Real Academy and Gideon's Polytechnic Academy in Liberia.
Katwae. What does it mean to be a woman? A black woman, an African woman, a Liberian woman.
To be a Liberian woman is Jiglunu, which means remember. Remember that you are strong because of your experiences and to always be true to who you are. Yakama Jiglunu. Panife, Menegaga, Nyenyengu Sui. Yawega, Cody Lai.
So I'm Alice Johnson Hina, and I'm going to talk to you on failing and not giving up.
Mwanjama jaweyo, mwanjama iyanjaweyo, mwanjama jaweyo, mwanjama. Kake Liberia Musofindi, wole wudin. Ka Anna Talifo, Maliata. Being a Liberian woman means telling our story, our own story with no apologies and authentically.
She brave. Oh baby.
Farafi muso kolo eminere. Labia muso kolo eminere. Muso lojan.
You are beautiful. Liberians, we have a unique culture, good food, beautiful clothing, music, marriages, languages, how we sit at the table.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Love is all we need to make it stick. This is the time to come together. Keep Liberia safe forever. So open up your heart and let the unity begin. Love is all we need to make it stand. Let's cultivate one another. Learn to live together as brothers and sisters. Without togetherness, we won't have